And so is it really that surprising that steroid use is more prevalent than heroin? Frankly, I'm surprised it's not even more prevalent than it already is, and is probably way more prevalent than those of you watching this video actually think so. Coach Greg, in today's video, I'm going over a Vice video with Rich Piana in the thumbnail, and it says, how steroids became more popular than heroin. Really, are we gonna now compare steroids with heroin? Well, newsflash, steroids are way more popular than you think. And so I'm gonna go over the video in the hopes of educating you on steroids, how they became popular, why people do them, why they don't do them. We're gonna go over the good, the bad, the ugly. Let's go over the video and find out.
In the UK alone, they estimate 1 million people using steroids of some form. And in the US, it's estimated between 3 and 4 million.
And so 1 million using it in the UK, 3 to 4 million in the US. And so if you just think about the math, about 1 in every 100 people in the United States are using it. That includes babies and Grandma Josephine. And so the percentage of actual adults who are using far greater than you think. And for the most part, people start using steroids in their later teens and 20s. But only about 20% of people have used steroids as a teenager. And so even more are using it into their early 20s, late 20s, and so on.
Steroids don't make you big themselves. They kind of just enable you to work out harder, which will get you bigger.
And so I like this. She says steroids, they don't just make you big, they allow you to train harder, recover better, and build more muscle. If you inject steroids into your glutes, you're not just suddenly gonna grow big glutes. You have to actually go to the train. And it's contrary to popular belief. Most people think you can just inject steroids, sit on your ass all day, and build muscle. Why? Because the study said so. But the study used what? Oh, a DEXA scan. And guess what? If you gain a lot of water, as in you're bloated, moon face from taking D-ball, it's gonna show up that you built muscle. Oh, you took steroids, you put on 6 pounds on average. Oh, it's 6 pounds of muscle. Meanwhile, you're bloated, have a moon face. You don't actually build muscle unless you have a stimulus for muscle growth to occur. So if you start injecting or taking steroids and you sit on your ass all day long and do nothing, you are not going to build muscle.
A variety of studies have kind of shown that the most prevalent reason for uptake is to do with aesthetics.
And so steroids have been around for a long time, and most people think steroids, bodybuilders or elite athletes. They don't think about regular folk. And to be honest, the majority, that's right, the majority, most people are using steroids are not elite athletes and not bodybuilders. They're regular peoples, and what do you think they're doing it for? Well, 50% are using steroids for aesthetics. They just want to look better. Other people improve sex drive, some people HRT. There's a host of other reasons. But for the most part, people just take steroids to visually look better.
Steroid use was sort of popularized within elite athletic communities in sort of the 1950s to 60s.
And so for the most part, it began in the 1950s. However, in the 1970s with bodybuilding, Arnold Schwarzenegger, it became more and more popular. However, more recently, it's filtered into other sports like baseball, football, even professional cycling. Lance Armstrong certainly doesn't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but used steroids to improve his athletic performance.
Generally suggested that their use is linked to their body image. Other things are like non-competitive bodybuilding, sport performance, sex drive.
And so for the most part, people are taking steroids because they want to look better. Simply to look better, over 50%. Obviously, of course, people are looking to improve their sex drive, perhaps their mood, TRT, HRT, as they get older, self-prescribed, improve work performance, and a host of other reasons. But overall, it really comes down to body image for the most part, and is the reason why more and more younger people are looking to take steroids. They're seeing images on social media. So many people have amazing physiques, and they want to look like that. They want to feed into the culture of having an athletic, manly-looking physique, like they had in the old ages. You know, hunter-gatherers, people doing manual labor, they're going to have more muscle than people who are sitting at a desk. And obviously, people are also looking to take steroids to look better to attract a mate. Whether you're gay, straight, bi, whatever, you're looking to improve your attractability to people that you want to be with.
I've always looked at how social media and the media have an impact on female body image, right? But I don't think the same attention has been paid to male body ideals.
And in the past, it was predominantly women who were forced to look a certain way. magazine pictures, women were almost always extremely thin. It was impossible to look the way the females did. Men, they had it easy. They could be overweight, didn't have to care about that they looked as much, but not today, not in 2022. There is equal amount of pressure on males and females to look the way that social media says we should look.
And you've got more and more shows like Love Island that pitch these people, men and women, as everyday normal members of society.
And so they bring up shows like Love Island, of which I've watched. They got guys and girls, six packs, built crazy, half of them on PDs, and you watch that and you think that's what normal people look like. It's not. These are elite specimens, highly above average looking, and we watch that and we think that's how we should look. And so people are more and more tempted to take steroids so that they can look like the people they see on social media, TV, and so on.
And we're increasingly getting like a younger and younger social media population as well. So these influences are increasingly being sort of drilled into people's heads from a younger and younger age.
I mean, just look at the clothing that people are wearing in the gym. Look around. Next time you go to the gym, look at the clothes and say, why do you think people are tempted to use steroids? Steroids going to help you build muscle, make it easier to diet, to lose body fat, to build muscle, recover. The clothes you got to get into, it's not easy. It's not easy to look the part. And yeah, we have body positivity and all that stuff, but that's not going to work. That's not going to prevent people from wanting to take steroids. We can love our bodies all we like, but the temptation is always going to be there to maximize the way we look.
One of the most commonly talked about side effects to do with steroids is going to be aggression, right?
And I mean, they show a clip of Popeye, growing up Popeye. He eats spinach and gets jacked, he gets strong. Sounds like he popped in a couple of Anivars or perhaps some Halo. I mean, what are we really thinking? And movie after movie, we see people going from skinny wimps to superheroes. They inject with certain chemicals. Even in He-Man, they were using steroids. They didn't call it that, but they would take it and, wow, get strong, felt amazing.
I feel so good, I think I'll do something I've always wanted to do.
And so is it really that surprising that steroid use is more prevalent than heroin? Frankly, I'm surprised it's not even more prevalent than it already is, and it's probably way more prevalent than those of you watching this video actually think so. And so, having competed and coached people for many years, don't you think I know just how popular steroids or even SARMs are? It's not just steroids, it's SARMs, it's anything that a person can take to improve their bodies. People are looking for the magic pill. They don't care about the consequences, the side effects. They're willing to trade it all to get the body that they've dreamt of.
I've personally heard stories of 5 or so guys lined up and someone going along and injecting them one by one using the same needle.
Frankly, I have to strongly disagree with her. She's saying how there's so many people that are taking steroids and sharing the needle amongst friends. 5 people lined up at a gym and all injecting steroids with the same needle. I've never in my entire life seen one person share a needle one time. I'm a professional bodybuilder. I've coached people. I've never seen nor heard it even once. And obviously that's a good thing. Anytime you share a needle, you can get whatever disease that other person has. If they have AIDS, hey, you could be getting AIDS yourself. And so never share a needle. And so just because it's not heroin or street drugs, the people that use needles don't think, oh, it's steroids, I can share a needle. I really disagree with that. I don't think people are actually sharing needles. Probably, of course, some are. Gotta be some idiots out in the world. But for the most part, I don't think this is very concerning. I don't think steroid users are sharing needles with their friends.
One of the funny things about steroids is that users often don't think of themselves as drug users.
And I do think that's a good point. I don't think that people that use steroids see themselves as drug users. Do you do drugs? No, I don't do drugs. Meanwhile, you're using steroids. Steroids is a drug. And so if you're using steroids, you actually are using drugs.
I think generally as well, steroid users maybe feel like healthcare professionals don't get it. They don't understand it.
Absolutely. Steroids users definitely feel that healthcare providers don't get it. And why? Because they don't. Are you kidding me? You really think doctors get it? You walk into most doctors' offices and say use steroids, they say, just stop. They see it as a drug just like any other drug. Doctors don't want you to take drugs. So when you say, I want to take HRT, or I'm on testosterone, or I took Anavar, they're going to try to convince you to stop. They see no potential health benefits. So for the most part, doctors just want you to stop. But can you blame them? It's a drug. Perhaps it's illegal in your country. Most countries, steroid use is legal. For example, in Canada, my country, you can use steroids. You just can't sell them. But overall, I still do feel that doctors don't know enough about it. Especially if you're into your 40s and 50s and you're talking about HRT, not doing actual cycles, but you have low testosterone levels, you feel like shit, you want HRT, a prescription. I feel that doctors are in the past, they don't know enough. They haven't studied it enough. In comparison, if a woman wants to get on birth control and she's a teenager, hey, take these hormones, take it. They don't care that it's going to lower your own body's testosterone levels, probably not going to feel as good, not recover, not going to build as much muscle. They don't care. Let's not talk about that. Let's just prescribe it. You don't want to have kids. But if a man goes in 40 plus years of age and says, I don't feel good, I think I need HRT. Oh, I don't know about that. And so, yeah, healthcare professionals, for the most part, do not know or understand enough about steroids.
It's not something that they're trained in very often. It's not something that they maybe understand the motivators for. There's this general perception of like less empathy.
Exactly. There's not much empathy. And for the most part, people who are given HRT, they're doing so in secret. They won't even tell their friends. Do you know how many people I know are on HRT, but they don't want anyone to know? Why? Because they'll be judged. You're a cheater. You only have that muscle because of HRT. I get it all the time myself. Think of it. I'm on HRT. Oh, you're a cheater. Can't do bike races. I like bike riding. Can't do bike race. I'm banned for years. Why? Because I entered a bike race while on HRT. I'm a horrible human being. Why would I want to enter a bike race while on HRT? Oh, it's such a bad thing. You know, I'm ruining everyone's bike career. If I were to ever enter a bike race, it ruins it for everyone. And so that's how most people feel. And so why do you think people keep it secret? Why do you think they don't tell their girlfriends, wives, friends, and so on? Because people are being judged for being on medication prescribed by a doctor.
Steroids kind of exist in a legal gray area. Like, what does the market look like? How are people actually getting a hold of this stuff?
And so how are people getting steroids? Well, many countries like the UK and Canada, it's legal to buy and use. And so people just buy it from people, but it's legal to sell. So you see the gray area. You're allowed to buy it, but you can't sell it. So how do you buy it if people can't sell it? And so really, it probably should be regulated so that you can go and pick it up from a pharmacy. That's just my opinion. But how are people buying it? Well, they're getting it from other people who are making it at home. They're brewing it in their own homes. Or they're buying it perhaps in bulk and selling it to their friends. So one person at the gym is buying, say, 10 bottles. 5 of their friends, they know them, and so they each buy 2 each and they go splitsies on it. That's how people are buying it in the real world.
Can we talk a bit about superstar bodybuilder influencers on social media and how they affect this scene?
And so Rich Piana was brought up as one of being the most influential people. He has over 1 million followers openly speaking about the steroids that he took. And she's saying you can't really blame people for not being open and honest because steroids are regulated. Not everyone can come out and be open and honest because if you are, you could be putting yourself in trouble. And so people can't be expected to make videos saying, hey, I'm like Coach Red. I took this, I'm on that, I was doing this. Because if it's illegal in your country and you say so, you could in fact get in trouble. So don't expect people to come out and be open and honest. And not only that, people also are going to lie because it's going to sell more products. If you're sponsored by a certain supplement company because you look a certain way and they find out that you look a certain way because of the PDs you took, well, it's not going to make you as marketable now, is it?
Are women using these drugs as well?
In a much smaller way, the estimates are generally between the user population being between sort of 95 and 98% male. And
so she's way underreporting this. She thinks that 95 to 98% of the people using steroids are male. That would mean 2 to 5% are female. It's way, 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 way higher than that for women. People think it's mostly men and a tiny fraction of women are using it. Not even close to the truth. In fact, it's closer to 2/3 men and 1/3 women. So I would say about 5 or more times more women are using steroids than is stated in this video.
Oh, I feel awful. I thought maybe some more potions.
Do you really think that all those bikini girls in those bikini competitions are all natural and it's only the muscular freak bodybuilders on steroids? Walk into every gym and for every 2 or 3 guys that are on steroids, 1 girl also on steroids. They just don't look like they are. They're not all injecting testosterone and tren. A lot of women are using more milder variations of steroids that don't cause as many androgenic side effects. Steroids, it's not just about building massive muscles. It's also about getting more toned. And when I say tone, I'm not talking about some bullshit term. Tone means to have muscle and be lean. Tone. It's in the friggin' dictionary. You can look it up. And so even though you don't like the word tone, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. When someone says, I want to look toned, it doesn't mean some stupid thing. It means they want to have a little bit of muscle, but not a lot of fat. They want to look athletic. And so they show a bunch of jacked bodybuilder girls and saying, a little bit of women are using steroids. That is not the type that are using steroids. It's regular women that just want to look better, that just want a little bit of muscle, a little bit of tone. And so the next time you think what women are using steroids, don't look for the girls with mustache, beards, and gigantic biceps. Look for bikini competitors or anyone who just wants to look better than they currently do.
Yeah, a lot of my work has been based on online communities, a lot on the steroid subreddit.
And so she's gone on the bodybuilding forums and seen what kind of advice are being given. And she says for the most part, there is in fact a lot of advice saying don't take the steroids. People are saying no, just eat healthy, exercise, and so on. However, she says there's a lot of toxic masculinity. People make fun of people, they tear them down, call you gay and so on, or just treating them like garbage and over-sexualizing everything. And that is true. I've been on these forums and subreddits and Reddit, for example. Horrible, horrible place to be. If you don't have a strong mental fortitude, you don't have an ego, you don't have a strong body image, that is not the place to go.
A lot of heterosexual men might start at the gym as a way to attract women.
And I have to 100% agree with this. A lot of men who are heterosexuals, they go to the gym to build muscle in the hopes of attracting the opposite sex. But as you put on more muscle, what you will quickly realize is the women really don't care that much. They don't really go for all that muscle. But what you will notice is the men. The men are gonna compliment more than ever before. I rarely walk around and have compliments from women. Rarely ever. However, all the time from men.
I did see this wild case though of this guy somewhere in Eastern Europe who injected oil.
And so oddly enough, she spoke about Rich Piana being on steroids and being open about it. And she talks about oils and injections to get big biceps. She didn't know that Rich Piana also injected things into his arms, that it wasn't just muscle, that there's other things going on that allows you to get those physiques. So what people I don't think realize is that it's not just steroids that can make you look jacked. There's also oils, hyaluronic acid, various compounds that can create swelling or volumization to the muscles. And so even if you're natural, you could quite literally enter a drug-tested event, have oils and things in your biceps and delts and so on, and look massive while being natural.
One thing that's talked quite a lot about is body dysmorphic disorder. Despite increasing in size and in muscularity, these men don't see themselves getting bigger.
And absolutely, we used to think that it was mostly just women who suffered from eating disorders such as anorexia, bulimia, but now we know men also suffer greatly from these disorders as well. And not just those, but also body dysmorphia or bigorexia, where they actually seem small. They feel fat, they have abs and think, I'm chubby, I'm fat, I don't look good. I have to bulk up and look sloppy to put on muscle. Meanwhile, they actually have six packs and they look good. So I see it all the time. People will post pictures on subreddit, various sites, and say, look at me, I'm skinny fat. Meanwhile, they have a six-pack and look jacked. People have no idea what they actually look like.
What can users and I guess us as a society do to mitigate the dangers and make it more safe?
And so they close with, how can we make steroids safer? She says, well, promote more needle exchanges, do more education so that people understand the dangers. Knowledge is power. And also, if we legalize steroid use and regulate it, that would obviously make it safer. I mean, here in Canada, they've legalized marijuana. I haven't seen any major problems occur. And so perhaps in the future, steroids will be legalized. We could use it safely, perhaps with the advice of a doctor. You just never know. Hopefully you learned something here, ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching, Greg Doucette IP Pro. As usual, please watch one of the bloops and terkestrone along with all the other supplements. Click the link in the description. There's way too many supplements for me to list. Please visit the website and just see what we have to offer. Also, please join the newsletter list. Nearly 200,000 people have done so. Click the link in the description. We're giving away free training program, free nutrition program. That's right, it's free. And until next time, I am out.
Drugs don't make your problems go away. They just create more.
Coach Greg.